Give me a second, y'all. All right. Let me see what the YouTube looking like. All right. Got the YouTube working. Let me see. Still got some time. All right, let me send out. Let me send out invites. I'm mad because I had an allergic reaction to vegetables. Allergic reaction to vegetables. That's why you got to be careful where you get your food from. And I'm like real big on that GMO stuff. And, it's crazy. All right, let me stop talking too much about certain things. Give me a second. I'm trying to do the invites. I'm gonna use Don D. Don D had made a poster. I think I made one, but I don't know if he used the same one because I be making so much art that I forget about it. So I don't know if it's mine and he rehashed it or whatever. But I'm gonna use the post that he made. I mean the artwork he used. And I'm gonna use it for on this post that I'm inviting people. Let them know we're live. We are live. This is on Twitter. I don't know if I should do the same thing for Facebook. I'll see. All right, let me see. So it's doing the same stuff that got my other account banned. It's trying to double post. And I got my account banned. Let me see. Let me do LinkedIn. Let me get some more developers in here. Let me do LinkedIn. Do some invites for LinkedIn. They like watching my content. I know y'all be thinking I'll be capping. A lot of y'all want me to be capping. That's the problem. Y'all want me not to be, people to listen to me. Y'all want people to look at me in the most distasteful or wrong way. All right. Y'all don't want people to support me. A lot of y'all don't. Y'all really don't. Y'all come to my show just to see if I got support. Y'all watch me to see if I fell. And this is something I keep noticing more and more. People want to see me fail, see my channel fail, see what I'm pushing for fail. Been doing this too long. Been in it too long. All right, let me see. Come on. I'm hitting Facebook up. We are live. And like I said, a lot of people, they don't like my content. They don't like what I'm saying because they love the game. They love what the game is because they're winning. No matter how broken it is, they're winning. They don't want the game. Some people be saying they don't want the game to be realistic. We don't need the game to be realistic. Do y'all know if arcade games sold, like if we were getting Mike Tyson punch out type games and stuff like that, they will not sell? Games only sell now if they are hybrids or they tell you that they're realistic. They gotta push the realism. Everybody wants a realistic game. Now, the arcade can be a mode that should be a mode. And in any sports video game, arcade should be a mode. But you get this people that they are like pro one thing. They're pro hardcore or pro arcade. They don't want to have options. And that's sad. That is sad. Their thing is, hey, we don't need, that's a waste of time. And you know how funny it is? Because they if you listen to them, they will say that by them making a realistic version and an arcade version, it will take resources, it will take longer for the game to come out. That's the biggest lie ever. All it is tuning, sliders. Your sliders can make the game arcade or hardcore. The sliders. So when y'all be saying that nonsense that y'all be saying, because y'all don't know. Y'all do not know. And y'all come and attack people that do know. Y'all don't know. Y'all be guessing. Y'all be like, maybe it is hard to do. Maybe they can't do this. Maybe they can't do that. So we're not going to bother them. Then why even get the next game? My thing is, why get part 2 to fight? Undisputed. Why get part 2? If you think this game is perfect, if you think there's nothing wrong with the game, you should not support part 2 because the game is perfect. And respect to the people that say, Poe, you're absolutely right. The game is broken, but I still like it. I can't be mad at that. I can't be mad at that, but you can't be mad at a person like me that want better. There's some people that's in raggedy relationships. And there are people in what you would kind of say are perfect relationships. And I know people saying, man, nothing's perfect. There's people in relationships that they coexist in harmony. Not a billion. If there's we would say 20%, or I give it a little more than that, about 25% of relationships, they live in harmony. Because a lot of those relationships, and I'm using this as for boxing, I mean, in a boxing video game, but a lot of things, it's just that they coexist. They know how to maneuver around certain things. And that's what a lot of y'all on what's-coms are doing. Y'all maneuvering, even though the game is a minefield, y'all still maneuvering and accepting it for what it is. But a person like me is, hey, if that relationship is toxic, I can't be there. I can't be there. If it's toxic, I can't be there. I can't stay there and support it. Because if you support it, it's not going to benefit neither one of y'all. In the long run, you're going to look back at your life and say, I wasted my time instead of getting something better or perfect or almost perfect. Because y'all scared of that word. Even the people that read the Bible, you supposed to strive for perfection. Because if you have nothing to strive for, you stay stuck. If you have nothing to strive for, you stay stuck. And that's where this game is at. And to the people that's like, what is Poe talking about? He bringing the Bible in there and talk about perfection. Read it. Read it. It says that. Look in the Bible and look for that verse where it says you're supposed to strive for it. Nothing is perfect, but you're supposed to strive for it. Because you got to have an example to strive for, to go for. But a lot of people like taking anything out of context to fit their narratives. And I noticed that. I noticed that since a child. I noticed that people use scriptures, books, and everything to benefit their narrative. They read certain parts or they do certain parts. I'm using this for the video game because I know y'all saying, Poe, you're going too deep into something else. No, people pick things that fits their narrative so it could prove that what they're doing is right. All right, now I'm back. Let me get back into the game. Let me stop going too deep because I can't go deeper. Let me see. Do I got anybody can't pop through yet? What's up? Shaolin Phrase 187. Haters gonna hate, Poe. Let them do their job. The game is far from perfect. Exactly. People, they get mad at me. They be getting mad at me for having an opinion. And my thing is, I tell people I box. That's one of the things is it's like an artist. An artist sees somebody drunk. Me, I'm an artist too. I'm an artist. I could paint. I could sculpt. I could do anything art. Anything that's dealing with art. I went to an art school. And I tell this all the time. I went to art school. I went to the same school that Michael B. Jordan went to. He went there for drama. I went there for art. And there was a lot of major people that came out of art side. I went to art side. So when people be saying little certain things like I don't know certain things, no. One thing about me is I should have been a scientist, to be honest, because I'm always formulating stuff. I'm always writing. And people be trying to be disrespectful because I'm like, why do I call myself Poe? Why do people call me Poe? Because I'm poetic. Not only with writing, Not only with saying things, it's the way I can do my life. My life is poetic. My life is poetic. People just don't get it. They always try to come at my thing is I want this game to succeed. I want Steel City to succeed. But they're not the only company that I'm focused on. Because once Steel City did what they did, my focus was off of them. But I was always pro more than one company making a game. Because I know once one company make a game, there's no pressure. And my thing is, when there's no other company to put pressure on Steel City or on one company, that's when the fans had to come in. That's when the fan base has to come in. People keep saying they know what we want. They're not going to listen to what we say. My thing is, I gave y'all the outlet. I keep telling y'all, I talk to people all the time. I talk to people all the time in the industry. I talk to people all the time that's in the industry. But you know what people going to do? Because they're not having those conversations? You're just saying that. You're just saying that, bro. You're just saying it because why would they talk to you? Who are you for them to talk to you? Somebody that reach out to them. Somebody that reaches out to these guys. Some of these guys that some of them they friended me. A lot of these guys like my posts and they friended me. But people feel some type of way. It seems kind of jealous to me. Why do you feel some type of way when I'm trying to get a great product for all of us? I'm not doing this to get paid or no money. I never said I was doing this to get money. I never said I want to be a YouTuber. I want to get monetized. I never said that. I never said that. Because if it come to a point that at some point I start getting enough people to monetize my channel, I still don't want to get monetized. But if I do, I will be using the money to make a game. I will literally do it because money doesn't move me. Money does not move me. Yeah, it pays bills and stuff, but money does not move me. It does not excite me. Shoot, I got 8 brothers. Well, I had 8 brothers. And all of them had Mercedes-Benz. They had BMWs. They had all Sherlins. They had jewelry, ropes, all that. Guess what I was wearing? African medallions, copper bracelets, stuff like that. Gold and stuff does not do anything for me. Do I like gold? Yes. But will I go out my way to get it? No. 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 And shout out, this is somebody I didn't shout out in a long time. And I'm about to throw a name out there, and a lot of y'all don't know. And shout out to Azak Man Allah. Shout out to Azak Man Allah. He's what I don't know, y'all not gonna know. He's my enlightener. He's my enlightener. He was one of my teachers. even though I'm older than him. And he was one of the Wu-Tang Clan road managers. He was one of the Wu-Tang Clan road managers. And if you don't believe me, you can ask him. If you ever look up Azak Ma Allah and say, do you know who Poe is? And he gonna say, yes, I know who Poe is. That's see knowledge Allah. He's gonna say it's see knowledge Allah. That's all you need to know. And I'm not gonna go that deep into this. All right. Yeah, man, but my thing is people, we don't come together in this community. We don't come together in this community. Like when even me, I go all out my way to make sure that things like with this, even with this game, I like what I was just saying. I know people in the industry. Even with Steel City, I was reaching out to artists. I was reaching out. One of my friends that's an artist. He wanted to be in the one of his tracks in the game. And it's like I'm like, yo, I could have got probably one of the Wu-Tang Dad, I'm sounding weird. I could have got my Enlightener to get one of the clan members in the game, or a couple of them. I mean, you know, a song in the game. But but my thing is, I'm trying to say is people always take me for lightly, like I'm a child, like I'm a 13, 14-year-old. Man, I've been living. I've been living life. I've been lifing. I'm not a fat joker that's sitting on the couch drinking soda and drinking beer. I don't even drink. And shout out to those that drink. If you drink, you drink. But I don't drink. I don't smoke cigarettes or weed. Never. I don't do drugs, any of that. But my point is that people always play me like I'm a bum in the house in the basement or something like that. Come on, man. I'm not that guy. I've been a business owner. I'm talented. And it's like people be hating on me. And my thing is, I try to use what I can to get us better things as a community. But people look at me as being toxic. And that's the thing that be getting me. Even when I was in the Discord. And shout out to Donnie. You don't have to respond back to me if you don't want to, but you have. And I appreciate that. Shout out to Donnie in the Discord. And if any of y'all go back into the Discord, tell Donnie I gave him a shout out. Yup, they would have. I could have got a couple of them in there. I remember I met Master Killer. that was like, yo. And my son, he's in a video when he was young with Papa Wu. Papa Wu, he loved my little son, my little seed. Yeah, man, it gets me upset when people like try to like look at me as the old annoying, the old unk and all that and stuff. Like I'm being annoying and stuff. My thing is, y'all, to me, when I was growing up, the younger generation, when I was growing up, the people that's like 10 years younger than me or a little younger than me, or when we were the younger generation, we were more outspoken than the older generations because we felt that the older generation were scared. We're not saying things. And it's like, even if you read in certain things that say the younger generation supposed to be stronger. They supposed to, you know, you supposed to be a better version of the old. I mean, each generation supposed to get stronger and better. But it seems like each generation is getting weaker. And that's by design. And that's by design. Because I'm like, how do you get mad at somebody for trying to make something better? How do you get mad at somebody for trying to make something better? And my thing is, I'm not trying to make it just, hey, just make it a hardcore game. I never said that. I never said just make it a hardcore game. I said it should have options, but the hardcore version should be the default. And this is it go another thing. People said it's not going to be fun or competitive. I don't understand what y'all talking about, because when you play Tekken or Street Fighter on a high level, to somebody that don't know, it's not fun. It's the people are too competitive. Boxing by nature, but it's naturally competitive. Real boxing is naturally competitive. So what are y'all talking about? What are y'all talking about? Now, when they put the right mechanics in the game, realistic mechanics in the game, the fun that you have is what you make. Is the fun that you have or the experience you have is on you. It's on you. Your experience is your experience. It's just like when you're watching a real boxing match, and in your brain, you be saying, well, I wouldn't do that. I would do this. If I wouldn't do that, I wouldn't allow them to do that. I would. All right, you got the opportunity in the boxing game, but you don't want them to give you the things to do what you keep saying. You don't want them to give you what you really saying. So when y'all keep saying certain things, it's like y'all being poisoned by the developers to give y'all the least possible things they can give you. Many of these developers will give you the bare minimum because you accept it. A lot of these developers, that's why I keep pushing for the third-party survey. And people, it's like the fans are more scared of the survey than the developers. Yes, the developers are scared of the survey. The publishers and the investors, they love a survey because it tells them where their money is going, where they should be concentrating their money. And when y'all keep saying, see that, when they be saying that excuse, I'll be looking at y'all and I'll be laughing because y'all don't know. Well, they don't have the budget for this. They don't have the budget for that. Of course they don't have the budget for these things because the investors and the publisher did not give it to them because they cannot localize where the money should go. And you know what figures that out for them? A third-party survey. No, don't let, because this is what somebody keeps saying. And I'm like, yo, you're not reading what I'm saying. He said the developers gave us a survey. That's what somebody said in the what was that, Reddit? He said developers gave us a survey. I said, no, the developers did not give you a survey. And the developers gave it to you. So they can look at it and say, hey, this is what they wanted. They could tell you what they want to. That's what you call reframing. They can reframe it. They can act like They included you in the process. But a third-party survey, it lets you know. It lets you know, especially if you ask for public results. It lets you know what the fans want. It lets the publisher and the investors know what the fans want. So when y'all think a survey is a waste of time, y'all keep thinking about what Steel City gave y'all, and that was polls. They gave y'all polls. They did not give you a survey. And even if they did give you a survey, they can frame it the way they want to. The reason why they would give you a survey themselves and not a third-party survey, so they could frame it. It's a marketing tool for them. So they could say, hey, we gave y'all a survey and this is what y'all asked for. And that's not what you asked for. And people saying, Poe, how do you know? Do I got to keep repeating myself? I was behind the curtain. I know how development works. I know how people do things. All right, let me get the show. That was a long rant. Let me get the show started. Shout out to Shaolin Phrase for coming through early. Shaolin Phrase 187. You can catch him on Twitch. And you can catch him here. Follow him. Support him. And shout out, I can't forget my guy, Don D. Shout out to Don D 205. You can catch him on Twitter, Don D 205. You can catch him on Twix, Don D 205. 12:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I think it's like 10:22 Central Time. Yeah, support him. And you catch him on Instagram too, that Don D205. I don't know if I said it. Shout out to Precisely. Shout out to Lamont Davis. Shout out to the Whistlers Mafia. Shout out to Alabama Country Boy. Shout out to Leafy. Shout out to AJ Pax. You know, shout out to all of y'all, man. I appreciate you. Look, I'm Precisely here. I think I shouted you out, but I'm going to shout you out again. Shout out to I'm Precisely _1. Appreciate you, man. I appreciate y'all every time y'all come in here, man. Because y'all help make my day. Y'all help make this show. All right, let me see. All right. Let's get it going. When passion get labeled as a problem. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Poe and the Community Speaks. This is episode 211, and today we're talking about something that's been building up in the community for a long time. When did passion become a problem? When did speaking up start getting treated like negativity? And more importantly, who benefits when players stop pushing for better? Let's get into it. There's been a noticeable shift lately. We got two groups forming. The one who are vocal, passionate, and pushing for a true boxing simulation or realistic boxing game. And the ones who say, just accept the game for what it is. Now, here's the issue. Somehow the passionate side is being labeled as toxic. But let me ask you this. How do you improve anything without people pointing out what's wrong? Let's talk about something real. Boxing games are rare. We don't get one every year like other sports. So what happens? People start thinking, if we push too hard, we might lose the only boxing game we have. That mindset is dangerous because now you're not asking for greatness anymore. You're negotiating with mediocrity. You're negotiating with mediocrity. White Des quietly replied on this. And whether people want to admit it or not, some developers depend on that mindset. If the community lowers its expectations, there's less pressure to evolve, less urgency to innovate, less accountability. And over time, you don't get progress, you get stagnation. The reality about passionate fans. Here's something that needs to be said clearly. The passionate fans, they're not the problem. They're the foundation. These are the people who study the sport, understand the mechanics, notice the details, and care enough to speak up. That's not toxicity. That's an investment. Let's tap into the community right for a few seconds. Why do people get mad at others for wanting a realistic boxing sim? Because realism raises the standard, and not everyone wants the standards raised, especially if they're comfortable where things are. And people, they be arguing with people in the Reddit, and then on different sites, people be trying to argue with me about stuff. You're just not good. Man, shut up, man. I boxed. You didn't. I boxed in real life. You didn't. People are, you just not good. Just because you know how to work with broken mechanics, that's on you. Stop coming at me because I didn't come at you. I'm coming at the developers. All right. Is asking for more hurting the game? No. Silence hurts the game. Feedback builds the game. There's a difference. Can this game still become something great? Yes, but only if the community stays vocal, honest, and united on what it wants. I got to read that again. Yes, but only if the community stays vocal, honest, and united on what it wants. The bigger picture. This isn't just about one game. This is about the future of boxing games as a whole. And I keep telling y'all that. We're talking about a genre that has over 50 years of history. A lot of y'all don't know that. This genre has over 50 years of history. And this is what I always say. Look how elevated. I know some of y'all going to always push back on this because the monetization. What does monetization have to do with the game? The visuals, the gameplay. What does that have to do with anything? That's what I'm talking about. My thing is I'm talking about the way games evolved. We see how basketball games evolved. But boxing did not evolve. We see how baseball games evolve. We see how football games evolve and devolve and evolve. But we saw changes. We don't see, it's like, oh man, it's just annoying to me. Some of y'all accept things, but I can't. And somehow we're still having conversations about basic features that should already be mastered. That shouldn't sit right with anybody. That shouldn't sit right with anybody. If you truly care about boxing, if you truly want this genre to grow, don't let anyone convince you that your passion is the problem. Because without without that passion, nothing gets better. All right, let me see. Let me see what y'all say before I move on to my next section. My next segment. Oh, man. What's up, Boxing Lounge? Salute. Appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you, Boxing Lounge. Boxing Lounge been there every day, too. Let me see. I just need Lamont Davis to pop up in here. All right. The normalization problem. Let's go a layer deeper. There's something happening right now that a lot of people don't even realize. Standards are being quietly lowered and then normalized. What used to be unacceptable in sports game is now being defended. Missing features, limited depth, shallow mechanics, and instead of saying this needs to be better, people are saying this is just how it is. That right there, that's how a genre slowly loses its identity. Because once mediocrity becomes normal, excellence starts to feel unrealistic. Excellence starts to feel unrealistic. Excuse me. All right. Passion versus perception. Let's clear something up. There's a big difference between how passion looks and what it actually is. Passion isn't always calm. It isn't always polished. Sometimes it's frustration. Sometimes it's repetition. Sometimes it's people saying the same thing over and over because they feel like they're not being heard. But that doesn't make it toxic. That makes it persistent. And persistence is what forces change. And persistence is what forces change. What a real boxing sim should not feel like. Excuse me. What a real boxing sim should feel like. Let's paint a picture for a second. A real boxing simulation or realistic boxing game isn't just about throwing punches. It's about distance control actually mattering. Footwork creating angles, not just movement. Fatigue changes decision making, not just slowing you down. Ring IQ showing up round by round. Every fight should feel like a story unfolding, not a loop repeating. Because boxing isn't just action, it's thinking under pressure. And if a game doesn't capture that, then it's not a simulation or realistic boxing game. I've been seeing comments like, y'all complain too much. Just enjoy the game. Here's the reality. Enjoyment and critiques can exist at the same time. Here's the reality. Enjoyment and critiques can exist at the same time. You can see potential and still call out what's missing. If you don't like it, don't play it. That sounds simple, but that mindset kills genres. Because if the people who care the most walk away, who's left to push it far forward? If the people who care the most walk away, who's left to push it forward? The warning sign. Here's the warning sign people need to pay attention to. When passionate players stop talking, that's not peace. That's Recognition. Why am I having a hard time with that word? Recognition. Daggone. Y'all know what I mean. All right. That means people didn't get what they wanted, and they stopped believing they ever will. See what messes me up with everything else is I messed up a recognize. Why am I messing up on that word? All right, y'all know what I mean. That means people didn't get what they wanted, and they stopped believing they ever will. And once community hits that point, it's very hard to bring that energy back. That word still is haunting me. I'm like, let me go back and get that word right, because I say it right all the time. And for some reason, I'm stuck on it. All right. So here's what I want from the community. Be vocal, be clear, be passionate, but be purposeful. Don't just say what's wrong. Explain what right should look like. Explain what right should look like. Because the more specific this community gets, the harder it is to ignore. All right, this one is going to be fun. This one is this section of the show is going to be fun. This going to get Don D upset. He gonna probably say, "Why do you even bring him up? And you shouldn't even have gave him any type of shine." I'm not giving him shine, but I'm gonna bring him up, Don D. Got to, man, because he kind of gets on my nerve too. All right. All right, let me see. I want to talk about something that's been on my mind. What I call the Steve Kim problem. And this isn't about making it personal. This is about perception. No, not perception, perspective. Because what he's been saying about boxers and their relationship with video games doesn't line up with what I've experienced at all. See, my interaction with boxers wasn't from the outside looking in. I've actually helped connect boxers to projects. I helped get boxers involved with EA. I work with Round for Round. I even sent boxers over to Undisputed, to Steel City. So I'm not guessing how boxers feel. I've had those conversations directly. I've had those conversations directly. I've built friendships with some boxers. I have built some type of friendship with some of the boxers. All right. And what I keep hearing from him sounds very similar to what EA developers used to say in interviews. The boxers don't really care about the game like that. That they see it as just a game. And he be talking about how it's hard to sign boxers, how boxers want all this money and stuff. You keep saying what I heard EA say all the time. It's like you're just using a script from EA. I never got that conversation from boxers. I never got that conversation from boxers. I got so many stories from the boxers that I talked to. I talked to a female boxer. She's a Native American. Like literally. I forget her name because we stopped talking because she got mad at me because of Round for Round. She was doing good in her boxing career. And me, the way that I think, I said she would be a good fit into your game because you can use that as a selling point. My thing is, I know how to sell things. I know how to promote and market boxing. I know how to promote and market boxing. And my thing is, like with her, you know, the women part and all that, I knew how, like, I know how we was gonna market everything. I had in my brain already how we were going to market everything and round for round. I knew it, but the owner got scared. He got overwhelmed. He got overwhelmed with stuff. But like I said, it's a lot of boxers I have spoken to. A lot of boxers, they like gravitated to me. I guess that is something about my talking, my cadence, or whatever. They were like they like talking to me. Even what's his name? Zaref Zaref is Zerafa. Even him. He contact me a lot of times. He used to contact me at least twice a week. Even with Steel City. He thought I worked with Steel City. I said, no, I'm trying to get you in the Undisputed game. And he kept, hey, did you talk to Ash? I told Ash about you and everything. I told him, I said, I mentioned you a lot of times. I said, all the boxes I sent out, and a lot of them reached back, said, hey, did you talk to Steel City? Because they were waiting to get scanned in. That's why I said that's why Steel City had to renegotiate with them. Because a lot of the boxers they signed early, they didn't sign early. So they start complaining and they wanted to renegotiate. That's why I be getting a little not upset, because I don't know why I keep saying upset. But I'm like, yo, you keep telling me what I know. You keep telling me what I know and you don't know. You're guessing. I know what I know and I can't help it. And then I'm like, why do y'all get mad at me about that? Because I don't benefit from it. If it bothers y'all that y'all think I might be, hey, Paul might get some money or something from that. I'm not trying to get money from this. I'm not trying to get money from this. Like I keep telling y'all, and y'all keep thinking, because that's the way y'all think about things. That's the way y'all think about things. I'm not trying to get paid from this. I just want boxing to be represented in a boxing game accurately, respectfully. That's my thing. And shout out to the guy, I forget his name. Shout out to you for reaching out to me. Matter of fact, I'm gonna say your name. Let me see what his name. Give me a second, y'all. Go on my link here. I might freeze up a little bit. Let me give him a shout out. Because he reached out to me. But some people, they reach out to me from UFC games and stuff. Like, it's people that's making UFC games. They reach out to me, but I'm like, do you see the idea? Because I guess they look at my ideas and stuff, and they be like, I could use that in a boxing game. I mean, in a UFC game. And that's my thing. I'm not a UFC fan. I got a martial arts background. Like my brother was a martial artist. He was also my trainer. I did a little bit of martial arts, but I don't like UFC. I was always in love with boxing. I was always in love with boxing. Even though they used to say, like when all the karate movies came on and stuff, when we saw them karate movies on that Saturday, that was it came on 3:00. It came on 3:00. So that Sunday, everything that you saw going on, I was building gadgets that resemble. That's the part I be talking about when me being an artist and stuff. I used to build stuff too, and I always was doing different things like that, like martial arts and stuff like that. But y'all be like, well, you like it, you should love MMA. No, I don't like MMA. And I think the part that what makes me don't like it is the Greco wrestling part of it. So I lump all that together, and no, I don't like it. I do not like it. I can't look at it. It's nothing that anybody could say or tell me to make me try to like it. I cannot like it. Would I play a UFC game? I have, and I seen there were some that I liked. But would I go out my way to play a UFC game? No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. And I'm being honest with myself and to y'all. Why should I lie? Why should I lie? Let me get back to what I was trying to do. I was trying to the heck is this? Always got somebody that friend me and I don't know who. I'm like, yo, DOF, what the heck is that? Department of DOF, what is that? I'm scared to click on. I'm talking about scared, but yeah, I am scared because I don't want nobody like, yo, he clicked. Who this guy? Why is he clicking on my stuff? Now they start doing all this extra stuff, so I'm not clicking on it because Department of F. DOF. I don't know what it is, and I don't want no smoke. I don't want no smoke. I'm not setting myself up. I don't know why these people are my friends, but it's a lot of people that friend me because they interested in a lot of stuff. Okay, the guy he's a founder of Combat Sports Tech. His name is Dominic Gitterger. His last name sounds so generic. It sounds fake. But I'm pretty sure that's his name. Is Dominic Gitterger. And I know I'm saying his name probably wrong. But he's a founder and he's doing stuff. And he wrote to me. Let me read the message that he wrote to me. Because a lot of y'all be thinking that Poe be capping, Poe be lying just to sound important. I don't want to be important. I just want a realistic boxing game. I just want a boxing game that respects the sports. Give us options. Give us depth. All right, let me see. He said, I really enjoy your content and can support your views. I'm not a game creator yet, and my background lies in MMA, but I try to build a sports tech company. I think he's trying to say, I'm trying to build a sports tech company with a martial arts training gaming app as base. So a lot of what you say and learned is meaningful to me. And I just hit him back and I just give him the thumbs up. Because I don't want to get too deep into it. Because I don't want to make them feel like I'm leading them on or anything, or anybody make them feel like I'm leading them on by, having conversations. And then we keep going back and forth and he feel like, that I want to support his product. I'm not a fan. I'm trying to push for boxing. That's my push. Boxing. I want boxing to succeed. I want to have the best boxing product. I cannot keep my focus on two different things. Like trying to support UFC and hey, some people could do that. Me, I can't. Hey, y'all got a UFC game that's functioning. Yeah, a lot of y'all would say the UFC game has problems and stuff like that. It doesn't have the problems that Undisputed has. It doesn't have the problems that Undisputed has. And you know what's the funniest thing? Undisputed is having problems with desync and different things, and they don't even have a referee in the ring. They're having problems with desync and they don't have a referee in the ring. And I gotta bring this up, and I gotta say it again. I'm gonna say it. I probably, this might be the first time I say it this week, and I probably say it again probably Thursday or Friday. But you got two characters in a ring. Other sports games have how many? You got all these characters on in the ring. Like technically, and we're being technical. A basketball court is a big ring. A basketball court is a big ring with all those boxers, referees, or whatever you want to call it in there. And there's no rubber banding or doing all that extra stuff. They got it right over all those years. That's why other games can do it seamlessly. That's why other games do it seamlessly. And y'all got to stop giving these companies excuses. Other companies did it so that we don't have to worry about it now. Other companies did it so we don't have to worry about it right now. Shout out to Dad. Shout out to A Smooth. Blaster X, what's up, man? Appreciate you coming through. Let me see what popped up in here. Let me see. A Smooth said, what's up, Poe in chat? What do SCI keep on posting old fighters that's in the game already and marketing tutorials? The game's been out for a year. Exactly. That's what they're doing. They're doing everything is a marketing. Everything is about marketing right now. They are selling the before the horse, yeah. Yup. 100%. Blaster X, salute. The turbo back pedal is an arcade sprinting backwards. Is arcade as F. Let me see. I just wish they would be transparent and say something about what's happening currently and future-wise. Exactly. To me, that's the adult thing. Yeah, hit the like button. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you for bringing that up, Boxing Lounge. That word you got to say is slow. Low. Exactly. Oh, oh, you talking about I was trying to get it right. And I'm like, I usually don't mess it up. About 60% of those boxers announced aren't even on the game. And I see why. Exactly. Why do you think SCI is actually doing? What do you think SCI is doing right now? This is for you, Poe, and the chat as well. I think they're working on Undisputed 2, and I think they're scared to say anything. But Norton Block Solo, I don't know if it's Cat or somebody told them something just to they feed them something. But they're saying that we're supposed to get an update with a couple of boxers in arenas. And to me, even if they, at this point, even if they put something out, it's gonna be problems. Because they even said every time they put something in the game, there's more problems. So they're not gonna really put nothing in major, give us nothing major. And what's going to happen is they're working on Undisputed too. Even Madden has more players on the field, and there's no desync. Exactly. That's the point I'm trying to make. People be giving Steel City too many excuses. And my thing is, it's not even, check out, it's not even Madden. Look at all these games that we have that's generic, so-called generic, or they want high quality like Madden, NBA 2K, or whatever. And they're not having the problems that Steel City are having. So that's why I be saying, when people be saying, yo, you being too hard on Steel City, this is their first game. It's not Steel City first game. It's Ash Habib first game. It's his first game as a company owner, as a developer. It's his first game. And Ash is not a developer. So it's not his first game. I mean, it's his first game. It's not the team first game. As a whole, yes. But making games, no. So this is what I want to ask people. Let's say they did hire Brian Hayes. And the game turned out being like this. Would y'all have gave him the same excuse y'all giving Steel City now? No, y'all wouldn't. Y'all would be saying, hey, you made Fight Night champion. You made Fight Night round 3 and Fight Night round 4. There's no excuse. So y'all see how that plays out? Do y'all see how that plays out when y'all try to make excuses? It's about, exactly, right? See? When you make up excuses, it's trying to make yourself feel better. I don't want to seem like I'm wrong. If I agree with Poe, I'm gonna be wrong. I shouldn't be liking this game, but I got to. I'm okay. We all are okay with y'all liking the game for what it is. But stop forcing it on other people or not saying anything. Y'all not saying anything. Y'all could be saying, hey, I'm playing the game anyway, even though it's broke. But give feedback. Challenge what the game is so it could be better. Why should they do better when you're not saying anything, when you're not challenging what's wrong? The developers are not boxing fans. There's probably 2 or 3 developers in there that's boxing fans. There's probably 3 that are casual boxing fans. They have over 70 developers. So add that up. Do the math. Y'all got to start thinking. I believe the game would have developed into the fully fleshed out ESBC version if Brian Hayes was there, honestly. 100%. I know it would have. I know it would have. And you know what? Brian Hayes would have made sure that he would have asked Ash to bring me on board. He would have asked Ash to bring me on board. He said Poe should be on the team in some fashion. He would have brought me on board. And Ash would have brought me on board because Ash wanted me to be a part of the team. Before he started hiring all the people from the United States, he wanted me to be a part of the team. But once the developers saw how passionate, they did their research on me, and saw how passionate I was, they said, no, he's going to be a problem. No, we don't want him on the team. No, we don't want him on the team. They didn't want me on the team because their thing was, why should we want somebody that passionate on the team? And you know what I start thinking, and I start adding it up. Why they don't have what's his name? The lightweight. What is he? Lightweight. The little joke that I forget his name. I always forget his name. I remember his name, then I forget it. The brothers. One of them used to be in the studio with Ash all the time. That I forget his name, but he's not in the studio no more. And he was real passionate. Not as passionate as I am, but he was passionate. He wanted the game to be done. He wanted the game to be done right. And all right. And stop, y'all. I know y'all said that Poe keep forgetting stuff. No, it's not that I'm forgetting stuff. It's just that I'm always thinking of new ideas and stuff. I always got to think, or like I'm still thinking about. I'm like, I can't believe I got that word wrong when I've said it numerous times. I be thinking about stuff like that. And I didn't have to repeat that so y'all could be like, Dad, Poe. All right. Let me see. All right, let me finish reading this. That's who it is. Salute to you, precisely. Sonny Edwards. Yeah, flyweight. Thanks for the 2 corrections. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, Sonny Edwards was in the studio. He wanted the game to be good. He wanted it to be better. But I'm guessing, and my guess is I'm almost 100% sure that Will push, because they were saying we don't need boxers in the studio. Once he said that, I start putting 1 and 2 together. Because once you said we don't need boxers in the studio, that right there said a lot to me. Because every game that has a successful game, they have athletes in the studio. A lot of people don't know that there are actual basketball players on 2K's team. There are actual basketball players on 2K team. There are people who played basketball that's on the 2K team. How do you know these things, Poe? Because Poe talked to these guys. I literally talked to these guys. One of the guys is my guy, Dazar. Dazar's father was a famous basketball player. A lot of y'all don't know that in the community. His father was a famous basketball player. I be doing my research. Everybody be doing surface level stuff. Everybody be doing surface level stuff. And they get mad at me for doing my homework. And just because I do my homework doesn't mean you can't come back with something different that will make me dig deeper. And that's great stuff. I like that. I like to be challenged. All right, let me see. All right. And what I keep hearing from him, this is the Steve Kim thing that I was talking about. And what I keep hearing from him sounds similar to what EA developers used to say in interviews, but wasn't the majority experience I had. Not even close. Most of the boxers I dealt with, they cared. They wanted to look right. They wanted their styles represented correctly. They wanted respect put on their name and their craft, because this isn't just a game to them. It's their career. It's their identity. And this is the thing. Even though some of the boxers wanted to be in the games, when I was talking to them, I used to feed this to them. Make sure your character is represented accurately. Make sure your tendencies is there. Make sure your mannerisms is there. Make sure everything about you stands out. I used to say these things. And that's probably the problem why people don't want me in their studio or don't want me around them. So be it. All right. So now you got 2 different realities being presented. One that says boxers are disconnected from the product, and another that shows they actually care more than people think. That gap matters, because if developers believe the first version, they're not going to prioritize authenticity the way they should. And maybe the difference comes down to access, or how those conversations are being had. And that's the thing, the conversations the conversations. I lead with I box. When I talk to boxers, I lead with that. Oh, you box? Yeah, I box. I box in Newark. I'm from Newark, but I boxed out of Hillside, New Jersey. Used to go to Philly, train out there sometimes. Sparred out there a lot. Went to Gleason's. I sparred there a couple of times. Went to Rocky Marciano gym. And what's that? Is that Jersey or Bayonne? I think that's Bayonne. Went to there. Went to many gyms. I fought all over the country, almost. I fought outside of the country. So those conversations, when I talk to other boxers, they say, oh, okay. We start having the conversation, make them feel comfortable. But you as a reporter or something like that, boxers not going to look at you the same way. Let me see. And maybe the difference comes down to assets and how those conversations are being had, or even the energy you bring into those spaces. I've boxed. I understand the mindset. So maybe that changes how boxers open up. I don't know. But I do know this. What I've seen firsthand doesn't match that narrative. This is why perspective is everything. Because the wrong narrative can shape the direction of an entire game. So when people talk about passion, and we talk about who really cares about boxing games, don't leave the boxers out of the conversation, because a lot of them are paying attention more than people realize. Let me see. Give me a second, y'all. What y'all saying in the chat? Yeah, Dazar, that's my guy. He wanted us to he was trying to get us to do a podcast together. He's like, Paul, we should do a Sim Nation boxing video game podcast. That's like when I kept trying to I kept bouncing. I think before this, I think I did like 3 or 4 podcasts that I let die down. I let die off. But he wanted us to do it. He said let's do the Sim Nation boxing, podcast. And his energy and his fan base, I think we would have had we would have had a great podcast. We would have had a great podcast because his voice by itself, to me, his voice itself would have carried, because he got that deep, Barry White type voice that everybody. My son to this day remembers his voice from decades ago. So yeah, man, people don't realize how deep I go into the community, to these communities. That's why I be saying I've been around for all the sports games, all the sports games. Before there was a Madden, I was there when they was like formulating this stuff. I remember Will Kinsler and I forget his name. I used to be friends with the other guy too. When they was formulating, they had a site. Will Kinsler had a website back in the days. Him and the guy, I forget his name. He was one of a developer that they snatched up too. Yeah, give me a second, y'all. All right. Let's take this a step further, because this isn't just a difference in opinion. There is a difference in what information is being amplified. When you keep repeating that boxers don't really care about the game, or they keep wanting more money and all these narratives and stuff, and once that narrative sticks, it starts influencing decisions behind the scenes. Not all boxers want all the money that they keep saying. It sounds good saying it. It sounds good saying it. Because a lot of boxers that I've talked to, they never ask for outlandish amount of money or things like that. They never ask for outlandish amounts of money. And I'm pretty sure when if Steve Kim would have said like I did, I used to say, hey, we're up and coming company. We don't have money. And a lot of them work with us. A lot of them work with us. All right. All right. There is a big gap between secondhand information and firsthand information. I mean, firsthand experience. There's a gap between secondhand information and firsthand experience. What I've noticed is a lot of what's being said publicly sounds like it's coming from old developer talking points, select interactions, or very surface level conversations. But when you're actually in the trenches, talking to boxers directly, helping them get into games, hearing what they care about, you get a completely different picture. What boxers actually ask for. Let me be specific. The boxers I dealt with weren't just saying put me in the game. They were asking for things like, does my footwork look right? Are my punch animations accurate? Do I fight like myself or like everyone else? Are my strengths or weaknesses actually reflected? That's not someone who doesn't care. That's someone paying attention to detail. And that's what I was doing. I don't hear these guys like Steve Kim talk about attention to detail. I don't hear them talk. These are not conversations that we're hearing from nobody on the team. We're not hearing this conversation from nobody on the team. CB, none of that. He's not going. His thing is he's not going to challenge the team. That's why I would not have worked on the team. They don't want me to challenge them. Hey, he don't fight like such and such. Hey, he's not moving like such and such. Yo, this is off. That's off. They would have had me I would have been a play tester. I would have seen all the things. Hey, why are you motion capturing him like that? That's not his style. Why are you making him do that? All these things, but like, Poe, why are you saying something about motion capturing? Because I know what I'm talking about. As an artist, you see what is right, what will work. You can see things visually. As an artist, you can see what will work visually, what looks right. I was a problem. I would have been a problem on Steel City, especially with the game the way it is now. All right. Why the narrative is convenient. Why the narrative is convenient. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. That narrative is convenient because if boxers don't care and they just want money, then accuracy becomes optional. If accuracy becomes optional, then death becomes optional. And if death becomes optional, you can ship a game that looks like boxing without truly being boxing. And that's the thing. That's the thing that was fed to Ash. Ash, stop worrying about all the things that you want in the game. Just be satisfied you shipping out something that looks like boxing. I'm like almost 95% sure that Ash was convinced to ship the game out early in the way that it was. We don't got to revisit putting the referee in the ring. We don't have to revisit the footwork again. We don't got to revisit the inside fighting. We don't got to revisit the clinching. We don't got to work on the offline modes. We don't got to work on the career mode. Stuff like that became less important. And you know what makes it so bad? That stuff became less important, and all of that trickled onto the online games. All of that trickled into the online games. All right. Let me see. Let me see if y'all saying something in the chat. Let me see. All right. Another thing people don't talk about enough is access. How you approach a boxer matters. How you talk to them matters. What they think you represent matters. If a boxer feel like you understand the sport, they're going to open up differently. If they don't feel like you don't, you're going to get surface level answers. So when I hear boxers don't care, I question the interaction. All right, yeah, this is something I want to talk about. Shout out, I know y'all gonna say, Poe, not you. Shout out to Showbiz the Dope. Shout out to Showbiz the Dope. I appreciate you, man. I see growth. Even though I still don't agree with what you were saying about Undisputed, I see growth in you in general. I see growth in you. I used to say a lot of things. I was one of your number one fans in the beginning. I was like, I was really cheerleading you early. I was like one of your cheerleaders. Like in the beginning, I was like there for you. Then I started seeing you like try to grab for the casual fans, and then I like weaned off. But I seen one of your interviews, and that I was like, yo, Showbiz is growing, and you needed this. I saw it. I know you needed these interviews. I know I need interviews with developers. That's what I wish you would get an interview. Showbiz, ask Ash Habib for an interview, please. Say, Ash, I want to interview you, and I want to interview 2 people on the team. Showbiz, come on, man, do that for us. We need you to do an interview. I want to see the questions that you ask. And you, Showbiz, please. Sometimes you're too friendly. You don't ask the right questions. You get too friendly. You accept things. That's not how you was in the beginning. Your passion was right there with mine. I was like, all right, I like this guy. You like, Showbiz, stop. You in there already. You're in the industry. You where you wanted to be. You where you wanted to be, and I'm happy, and you always deserve it. You've been deserving this forever. You've been deserving this forever. Shout out to you. And I know I'm giving you big praises, and a lot of people gonna be like, "Oh, I can't believe you." I can't be mad at someone that says or did something that I like. I don't care who it is. If you're my enemy, and you do something that I like, I might smile at it and acknowledge it, but that don't mean that's gonna make me agree with everything you say. But Showbiz did, y'all gotta watch it. Showbiz did an interview with Ben Whitaker. Showbiz did an interview with Ben Whitaker. That interview right there, the way he made Ben Whitaker open up and the conversation, I'm like, wow, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's the conversations that I would have with boxers. If I was interviewing boxers and stuff on this show, Showbiz, you really are growing better and better. Every time I see you, you are growing. You are doing great, man. And I'm giving you your flowers right now. Salute to you, my brother. Salute to you. And like I said, I know I said some crazy things back in the days, but like I said, we don't gotta always agree on everything. That's a human thing. Everybody have what they like and dislike. I don't like everything you like, and you don't like everything I like. But that don't have to make us enemies. And that's what I be trying to say to everybody in this community. We can like what we like, but come on, man, come together. Say, hey, it's all right to push what Poe wants because he wants what we all want, a game that we can play and enjoy. My thing is I want my version of the game, and I want everybody else to have their version of the game. That's what options are for. I never said that we shouldn't have those options. Like some people say they want 6-axis blocking. But technically, there's more than 6-axis blocking. If you want to be technical, there's way more blocking than that. But my thing is, I want 6-axis blocking. I want all the other blocking as an option. You shouldn't force somebody to block the way you want. It shouldn't be, there should be a choice of the way the person wants to do their blocking. I think there should be, but when you choose your boxer, if it's something that they do, when you choose your boxer, you should be able to pick certain blocking styles that they've done in their life or that they can do. You should be able to pick, say, all right, I'm gonna pick 2 blocking styles for my boxer. And that's what you should be able to use in the game. 6-axis blocking, up and down if you want. Because some people, hey, I know y'all feel, hey, I hate the up and down blocking, but that's a real thing. That is a real thing. Y'all talking about 6-axis blocking, but every boxer do not block that way. So you taking away the realism to fit your agenda. That's an agenda. I know it's going to get some people upset with me, but that's an agenda. 6-axis blocking or more, that is optional to certain boxers. And my thing is that's what certain boxers, but should it be an option if that's the gameplay you want to play that y'all agree to? Yes. That comes with my options thing. There should be a contract system for online. If y'all want to pick just one blocking style, if that's how y'all play, that's the contract system. Hey, no, we're going to have 2 blocking styles. Contract system. Because with a contract system, you can either play realistic or arcade or whatever style y'all want. See, I'm always thinking. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. All right, nothing. All right, let me see. Yo, y'all, share that survey, please. Share the survey. All right. There's also a silent majority of boxers who never get asked or never get taken seriously. There's also a silent majority of boxers who never get asked or getting taken seriously. And this I know. This is I know. Let me see. How many boxers did I talk to? I think I talked to hundreds of boxers. And some developers never talked to them. Because I know even with EA, I talked to them. And there's a funny thing. I hooked EA up with the company that they use to get, because I forget the name of the company. They had at least, I think, 5 boxers that company owned the rights to them. And guess who ended up with, because I put that out there too. So that's why I get mad at too. I put Ash on this company. If anybody say I didn't, I'm okay with it. All right, you can say I didn't, but I got the conversation. I still have the conversation that I saved. I put them on this company that owned the rights to these different boxers. Because my thing is, I did the research. So when a company try to lie and say, hey, Poe didn't do none of that for us. I technically was doing this before there was a Steel City, before there was a Round for Round, before there was any company. I was doing this when EA. I was reaching out to companies. Then I start finding out that companies start buying athletes' rights. Their what do you call it? They were buying the rights to the athletes. And like I said, another thing I gotta say is Steel City, that was the stupidest thing in the world. Some people still don't think it was a bad move, but why buy the rights to Muhammad Ali? Why buy the rights to Muhammad Ali for that long period of time? Fans don't buy the game because Muhammad Ali is in the game. If you look at gameplay right now, nobody's really using Muhammad Ali. If you look at gameplay right now, nobody's using Muhammad Ali. So you wasted all that money to get Muhammad Ali. And then when I be saying to I'm gonna say it every show or almost every show, y'all keep buying all these boxers and try to sell them as DLC when the boxers are not accurate to themselves. They're not going to sell. Because when you got a roster full of 200 or 300 boxes, which we didn't get, that's your selling point. But that selling point is not for the casual fans. Casual fans do not know 200 and 300 boxers. Casual fans do not know 200 and 300 boxers. That's the hardcore fans. But what do hardcore fans like? Boxers that accurately represent themselves. All right. There's also a silent majority of boxers who never get asked or never taken seriously. They aren't always the biggest names, but they're students of the sport. And if you bring them into the process, they'll give you insight that can change everything. But you have to actually value that input. And that's the thing with Sonny Edwards. They did not value his input. And it seemed like Sean Porter was trying to have his input. And they did not value that. It makes me think that somebody on the team that's supposed to be for accuracy or authenticity pushed them out. The ripple effect. This does not just stay at the boxer's level either. It trickles down. This doesn't just stay at the boxer's level either. It trickles down. If developers believe boxers don't care, then fans who care start getting dismissed too. Now you've got boxers being misrepresented, fans being labeled as too demanding, and a game stuck in the middle. That's how you create disconnect across the board. So when people hear these statements, you got to ask one simple question. Where is this coming from? Is it based on a few conversations, old industry habits, or consistent direct engagement? Because those are not the same thing. I think Steel City, this is something I'm going to throw out there. I think Steel City should get Showbiz the adult to get boxers. Because Showbiz know how he talks to boxers. He know how to, he has the way he does things. I think he would lean into getting the boxer. It's just something about Showbiz that, you know, I'm starting to be like, yo, all right, Showbiz, you showing that you belong. Even though I was saying that before, but you're like really, really showing. All right, let me see. Set the record straight. All right. I'm not just saying every single boxer is deeply invested, but I am saying this. The idea that most of them don't care, that's not what I saw. Not from the ones I worked with, not from the conversations I had, and definitely not from the ones who understood what representation really means. So when we talk about building a real boxing experience, let's base it on reality, not convenience. So when we talk about building a boxing experience, a real boxing experience, let's base it on reality, not convenience. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. What's up, Leafy? Shout out to Leafy. Leafy in the house. Steel City should focus on making the fundamentals of boxing first before getting more boxers or hiring a guy to pull in boxes. Exactly. 100%. 100%. And I put that out there early that that's what should have been done. That's what that's what gets me upset too, because how do a person like me know these things? How do a person like me that's not in the industry, not on a multi-million-dollar company, knowing how to structure a team, knowing what needs to be done first? Because I did the research. Like most fans, they go off of what they feel. I do the research. My thing is I love challenging the developers. When they tell me something can't be done or tell me they can't get this boxer or that boxer, guess what I do? I do my research. I talk to the boxer or reach out to their promoter or manager. and see can that be done. And what's the problem? Why they can't get them? Or when they say certain things can be added into a game, I do my research. It can be added in a game. I precisely said at the moment, I don't care about unique animations. I want them to focus on the standard animation. Good, first, exactly. But at this point, where we at with the game, if they give us basic, we're going to complain because we're going to say, hold up, this your second game and you giving us basic stuff. So that's the thing they're gonna have to look at now. Because whatever they give us now, like in Undisputed 2, if they give us like just give us a basic game, but it's good to us, then we're gonna start saying, oh man, this is what we should have had in the beginning. And we're gonna be happy. But I say like a month later, then we're gonna see, hey, it's good, but it's basic. This is their second game. The reality is gonna hit us. It's their second game. And this is what we got. That's what people gonna start saying. That's what people gonna start saying. You know, I know people gonna be like, Dad, man, they can't win for lose, but it's the reality gonna start kicking in. It's their second game, and we should have something more, more substance. And their thing is it's gonna be like their first game all over again. That's what they're gonna use. They're gonna use it's their first game all over again. This is how they're gonna frame it. This is our first time using Unreal Engine. So technically, this is our first game. That's how they're going to frame it. And you know what? People going to eat it up. So we're going to go probably 6, 7, probably 10 years with the bull crap. With the bull. We're going to probably go 10 years. Because we already it's been like almost 6 years. It's been 6 years already. So then we're going to have to wait, probably 2 or 3 more years. That's going to be 9 years. Undisputed 2, 9 years. It's going to be crazy. We're going to be like, Dad, gone. People going to go crazy. They're going to go crazy. They're going to be on a banning spree. They're going to be on a banning spree. And it be bugging me out because shout out to Donnie in the Discord. I appreciate you. You tried. Yeah, Donnie be telling me stuff. Said, yeah, we be giving you a break and stuff. I said, yeah, like I terrorized the Discord. Yeah, like I terrorized the Discord. Like I went in there talking about people mama, talking about the developers' mamas and stuff like that. Talking about I'm going to knock their heads off when I see them. Stuff like that. Oh, this is something I got to tell y'all. There's somebody in the Discord that they were coming to see a fight in Newark. No, it wasn't in Newark. It was in New York. And I said, I think I'm gonna go over there to the see the fight. I can get in for free because I know the commissioner, Larry Hazzard. Know all his sons and everything. I know Larry Hazzard. Know my uncle and everything. So I was gonna go over there. But I forgot what happened why I didn't go. But he was like, he said, Paul, you ain't gonna be there. He thought I was gonna try to get at him. He thought I was gonna try to get at him like I was gonna like put my paws on him. But that ain't me. Now, if you would have said something like grimy or something like slick, I probably would have smacked you. I'm not, because my thing, what I'm gonna do, I do to be disrespectful. Because if you disrespect me, I'm gonna do the most disrespectful thing to a man. I'ma smack you. And you know what's the thing is? When I smack people, I knock them out. When I smack people, I knock them out. And that's something I experienced. I shocked myself. I smacked this joker and knocked him out. I say, wow, I didn't know I got that much power. But no, Joker was scared. One of the I think he was a moderator. It was one of the mods. They thought I was gonna come over to the fights, and then they was gonna see me. My thing is, I don't know how the mods look. I don't know how the mods look. Because it would have been his stupidity if he thought that was the type of person I am, and you introduce yourself to me. But that, man, I think that's Poe right there. Hey, Poe! Bow! Smack him. Nah, I'm playing. Nah, for Undisputed 3, they'll move to Godot. Yo, man, stop. Stop playing, man. Let me see. A Smooth said, we gotta wait for Undisputed 3. They will have learned the engine fully. Maybe. Man. We gotta stop giving them excuses because the dads be looking at the show. Darn Poe on his beast. Nah, man. See, see, that's what people be thinking. Me and Beast is be doing the same thing. Now, if it was Beast, I don't be doing that stuff. I be amped up when I be at the fights, but I be like, I'm real humble. I'm real humble at the fight. I get like, I'm excited that I'm at events because it's in my blood that I love the boxing. But I'm real humble. Like, I think when I went to an amateur boxing match, and I was like, and I feel bad. I think that's another reason why I haven't went to amateur boxing matches yet, because the Golden Gloves going on right now. And I supposed to have made an appearance, but I didn't, because I kept introducing everybody that the last time I went to amateur boxing match, they saw my son, and they saw how my son was looking. They said, yo, and they thought my son was going to be my heir apparent. They thought he was going to be, because they knew how I punch. I had punching power. My son could punch. My son could take a punch. He would have been, right now, let me see, my son is 25. My son would have probably been a champion now. That's one thing I almost can promise, because I know I mistakenly cracked my son in the jaw, us playing. I mistakenly cracked him in the jaw with hands. I've knocked people out with gloves on. So I said, daggone. And his facial features, see, he got features that he got, like, his eyebrows comes out a little more. So I'm like, daggone, man. I said, you structured the way I should have been. Because, you know, when you got your eyebrows that come out some, it protects your eyes from, you know, you getting hit in the eyes and your eyes swelling up. And my son, he got big legs and everything. I called him. I told my wife, I said, I'm going to have a son. I'm going to call him Horse. And I was playing the jump. My son came out. He had big legs. So that's punching power legs. My son, he got everything. He could have been a great champion. When he was young, he was playing football. He was doing good to me. My son, like I tell y'all the story about when my son ran around. It's this park, we call it's Weequay Park in Newark. It took me a whole month, no, a couple of months to get around the whole park constant without stopping. My son ran around it like he knew the park. That's why I be saying sometimes you do something so much, it's in your DNA. And when my son did that park, he ran around that park like he memorized it, like he knew the park. He ran the areas where he's supposed to have got tired. because it's like 3 big hills in that park. He ran up them hills like it wasn't nothing. I used to run up the hills once I got in shape with like it wasn't nothing. But my son did it on the first try. And I was like, daggone. And that was like, I'm like, that's why I didn't show up at, because I know once I start back going to boxing matches, people gonna be looking at me and be looking around to see where my son at. And my son, he's more of a gamer. That was the worst thing that I did. Introduce my son to gaming. My son rather play gaming now than boxing. That joker wait till he. Let me tell y'all this before I go on. He waited till he got 20 years old and talking about he wanted to box. He said, "Bob, you want to start teaching me how to box now?" I said, "Nah, man, it's a waste of time now." And I know Deontay Wilder and all that. My thing is, I didn't want to put my son out there waiting. I don't want him to struggle. I don't want him to struggle. Even though I feel like he could have did something, I didn't want him to struggle. I didn't want to chance it. All right, let me stop giving y'all my life story. All right. So when we talk about building a real boxing experience, let's base it on reality, not convenience. Let me see. All right, let me see. Give me a second, y'all. All right. Let's go deeper. Because at certain points, this starts being about opinion. It starts being about incentives. Every narrative in the space is shaped by something. Who you talk to, who access you have, what information gets, what information gets repeated back to you, and what audience rewards you for saying. So when I hear consistent framing like boxers don't really care, I just ask if it's true. I ask what environment produced that conclusion. Here's something people overlook. Every interviewer is a filter, not intentionally, but structurally. You don't you don't just report reality. You report the version of reality you were able to access. So if your access is promoters, PR heavy conversations, or developers summarizing boxer behavior, then your conclusions are already filtered before you even speak. Why devs and media often align. And this is where things get tricky because sometimes developer talking points and media talking points start sounding the same. Not because they're coordinating, but because they're pulling from the same pool of surface level interactions. So you end up with a loop. The developers saying boxers are casual about games. Media repeats it. It gets reinforced, then becomes common knowledge. And this is the thing. It seemed like I heard Steve Kim repeat what Steel City is saying. It's like he's repeating what they're saying instead of what he knows boxers are saying. But if I'm wrong, Steve Kim can correct me. If I'm wrong, Steve Kim can correct me. But it sounds like he's repeating what Steel City and other companies have said. Because I'm going off of my experiences. Not as a normal fan. And this is what I try to get straight with people. A lot of y'all are just gamers. I think what I do is it goes a little deeper than being just a gamer. I dig deep for information. I make it my priority to get information. Right. So you end up with a loop. Developers says boxers are casual about games. Media repeats it. It gets reinforced. Then it becomes common knowledge. But common knowledge isn't always accurate. It's just repeated. What gets lost in the loop is the detail work. Because when I've been in those spaces, the conversations were abstract. They were specific. Boxers were talking in generalities. They were breaking down timing, rhythm, movement, accuracy, identity, and animations, how they are recognized by style, not just name. That level of detail doesn't come from someone who doesn't care. That comes from someone who's highly aware of how they're being represented. There's also a reputation gap here. Some boxers are seen as brand ambassadors, marketing assets, licensing deals, but not always as creative stakeholders. So when they do give detailed feedback, it sometimes gets filtered down into something simpler than what was actually said. And over time, that creates the illusion that they weren't detailed at all. And I'll say this carefully. I think how you enter those conversations changes everything. When you come in as someone who understands boxing mechanics, or someone who has actually boxed, or someone who treated boxers like experts in their craft, you don't get the same surface level responses. You get real feedback because respect changes the depth of the conversation. The risk of single story thinking. The danger here is what I call single story thinking. When one version of reality gets repeated enough, it starts to replace other versions. So instead of there are boxers who care deeply or want all this money they keep talking about, and others who are casual, it becomes boxers don't really care. And boxers just want money. And that shift might sound small, but it changes everything about a game, the way how a game is built. Why this matters for boxing games specifically. And this hits boxing games harder than most genres because boxing isn't just animations and mechanics. It's identity replication. If you get a football player slightly wrong, it's noticeable. If you get a boxer wrong, it feels personal because their entire style is their signature. That's why their input matters more than people realize. So I'm not here to say every interaction is the same. I'm not here to say every boxer is deeply analytical, but I am saying if the dominant narrative doesn't match what I've seen firsthand, then it's worth questioning where the narrative is coming from. Because the goal isn't to defend one side, the goal is to get closer to the truth of what actually improves the game. And that's the only thing I'm here for. Getting an improved game, a better game, The best product ever. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. What's up, Aaron? Salute. Appreciate you coming through. Let me see. Do some quick Q&As. Do some quick Q&As. All right. Do some Q&A. Why do boxing games feel so inconsistent even when the foundation is there? Because building a boxing game isn't just about systems. It's about alignment. You can't have solid mechanics, solid animations, and even solid presentation. But if those pieces aren't speaking the same language, the experience falls apart. Boxing is timing, rhythm, and consequences. If any one of those is off, the whole illusion breaks. Let me see. All right. I got to read the question first because I'll be getting a lot of repeat questions from y'all. All right. Do developers underestimate how quickly players notice flaws in sports games? Yes, but not always in the way people think. It's not that players see everything instantly, it's that they feel things instantly. Even if they can't explain it technically, they know why. They know when movement feels unnatural, impact lacks weight, or decisions doesn't match real boxing logic. Players don't need dev language to recognize when something is off. All right. What's the biggest thing holding boxing games back right now? Consistency across all layers. Consistency across all layers. You might have good striking mechanics, decent visuals, solid licensing. But if footwork, stamina behavior, and fight pacing doesn't match the same philosophy, you end up with a game that looks like boxing but doesn't behave like it. That gap is the real issue. All right. Why do some fans defend games so aggressively even when there are clear issues? I know y'all gonna hear this almost every time I read a question. All right, because scarcity changes behavior. When something is rare, people protect it, even if it's flawed. So instead of demanding improvement, some fans shift it into defense mode. If I criticize it too much, it might get worse or disappear. That mindset isn't about the game itself. It's about fear of losing access to it entirely. All right, this one, last one. Let me see. Let me read it first to see if it's a repeat. All right, this is not really a repeat, but I know I've said something similar to this. Can a boxing game ever reach mainstream sports game status like FIFA or NBA 2K? Yes, but only under specific conditions. It will require long-term support, not yearly resets. Deep mechanical identity, not surface level updates. And consistent post-launch evolution. The potential is absolutely there, but the structure around boxing games hasn't consistently supported that kind of growth yet. What does the community, why? No, I'm not reading no more. I'm being greedy. I told y'all that was it. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat before I end this. Appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. I'm about to end the show. This I did 2 hours. I went over the hour mark. I did my 2 hours. I appreciate everybody that came through. Shout out to Aaron for coming through. Crown Armani. Salute. Support him. Leafy be fighting. Shout out to Leafy. Shout out to AJ Pack. Shout out Lamont Davis. He ain't pop up yet. But shout out to Lamont Davis. Shout out to Blaster X. Shout out to who else? Shout out to Ace Move 007. Shout out to Precisely. Let me see who else I'm missing somebody. Shout out to Boxing_Lounge. Shout out to Shaolin Phrase 187. Shout out to Don D 205. Shout out to everybody, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Until the next show, I'm going to say peace. Thank you, man. Let me see what Leafy said. Also, I think I'm going to be getting a new PC as soon as I sell my BMX bike. Man, Leafy, you should have did. No, I tried it. Man, the whole community should have came together and did a Kickstarter for you to get a computer. You should, I don't know how many fans you got at the moment, but you should try to do, I think you got to have a certain amount of, because if you could do a live, a YouTube live, and you get the fans, salute. Yeah, if you could do some type of live, Leafy, you could get the community to pay for your computer. You probably could get the community to pay for your computer. Because a lot of people support you. A lot of people that you probably don't even know. You might be able to get more than a computer. Because for one, you got people, like I said, you got people in the gaming industry that listen to this show. And salute to the producers, the developers, and the people that's in the industry that listen to my show. I appreciate y'all, man, for coming through. Please hit the like button on your way out. Until the next show, peace.